Hello, everyone. Welcome to the UpRev Ninja Podcast. If this is your first time listening, thanks for joining us. This show is produced each week with the single intent of discovering the tips, tricks, hacks, and lessons learned from our guests that has catapulted them into living the best version of themselves. Join your host, Tom Hudson, as he continues his search for the best methods to UpRev his life. Now, let's dive into the show.
On today's show, I interview Alie Slabenko. Alie is originally from Russia and moved to Canada 5 years ago. Having a tax crime degree, she'd rediscovered herself in Canada as a writer and journalist, and now works to defend human rights. Welcome, Alie Slabenko, on the UpRev Ninja Podcast. Hey, Alie, welcome to the UpRev Ninja Podcast. How are you today?
I'm good. How about you, Tom?
I'm doing really well. You know, it's summer, and we had some good thunderstorms last night, and it's kind of cooled down, got rid of some of the humidity. So I'm doing happy. I'm happy.
Good to hear. It's actually really sunny in Vancouver. It's actually really hot, but I'm missing all the sun because I'm doing graveyards now,
Oh, okay.
5 nights a week. Yeah, at the airport. So I don't see sun that often. I don't know if it's good or not, but yeah, that's my life for now.
It's not a bad thing. You know, Vancouver's a beautiful city. My family and I were up there this past, August, and just for a few days. But yeah, it's a beautiful city.
I agree. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to see. And yeah, once I have some time, I usually use my tourism pass. That's the pass we've been given at the airport because we are being considered as a tourism industry workers. And it's basically gives you an opportunity to go different places like our galleries or like outside attractions, mostly for free. So, you can save a lot of money, trust me.
Wow, yeah, that sounds fantastic. I need to get me one of those.
It's actually +1, so it's +1 guest. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah,
all right.
Why not? Mm-hmm.
Well, Alie, thank you for talking with me today. Your the bio that you sent me I was very intrigued, and I've already kind of read that out to my audience. So I would love for you to tell me in your own words, like just who you are and how you got to where you're at today.
Sure. So I moved to Canada back from Russia 5 years ago. It's almost 5.5. And my first plan wasn't actually to move here. I just came for 1 year to study marketing. And it was my second degree at the time. My first degree is in financial crimes, actually tax crimes. And, along the way, life path, you change your mind. At that time, I wanted to pursue marketing. So I was like, okay, let's do this. And I had my job in the bank. So I was planning to go back. But the more I was staying here, the more I was, meeting people and getting to know the culture. And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to stay. I can stay for a bit. And I got a job in the office. So it was like sales job. And so I could pursue my marketing skills. And then I got the job at the airport. And at the time I was like, okay, I can stay even more. And I stayed more. And now it's been 5 years and I want to go back. And I'm going to apply for my immigration soon. I actually passed the first step, to be honest. And I'm just waiting for a second step to be over so I can be a permanent resident, which basically gives you every single right as a citizen, except you cannot vote. And that's it. Well, that works for me.
Okay. No, that's great.
And
no, go on.
Oh, yeah, sorry. And last year, I just decided to dive into journalism, and because I was just sitting one day and I was thinking about my life, and I was like, okay, well, what's next and what should I do? I've tried to pursue a career at the airport. I've tried to get into airport operations, which is a higher position. I applied a couple of times for some supervisory positions, but it was really hard to get, and they were asking for some airport operations diploma, so the fact that I was working there for a few years just wasn't enough. And then I thought, you know how people say, find your passion, like find your hobby, and then you can make it a career. And I always like writing. And I thought, okay, if I pursue just writing, it's not enough. It's just really narrow. And I was thinking, I think I have really good investigative skills, because back in Russia, I was, while I was studying financial crimes, I had an internship in a police department, and we had to investigate some potential like tax crimes. So I was like, okay, maybe I can be a journalist, so I can investigate and write at the same time. And so last year I just went to local university, and I'm actually done now with all my classes, and I only have my internship left. So I'm currently looking for some internship opportunities.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I guess that's my story. Any questions?
Yeah. So no, that's great. So moving, I guess, what brought you from Russia to Canada?
So you mean why Canada at the first place, right?
Okay. Yep.
I don't know. It's just so many people were telling stories about Canada. They've been calling it the country of opportunities, and we had a few friends who have been studying here at the time or working, and they were like, yeah, you need to come, you need to check it out. And it's if you get a degree from here, it's a good opportunity. You can go anywhere in the world, and you can stay if you want, and all that stuff. They're just, I guess, just all the opportunities.
Okay.
It's kind of, and it's safe. It's no crimes, especially in Vancouver. The only crimes which actually happen, it's between like those gangs, like
right.
drugs and stuff. Yeah, but they don't kind of like touch regular human beings like us, so they don't care about us. So safety, opportunities. I made some friends. I was looking for some people because I knew I would be here for 1 year at that time. So I was just looking for people online, and I was just basically messaging them saying, hey, I'm coming to Vancouver soon. Can you show me the city? And when I arrived here, I had the whole list and with phone numbers and, social media pages of people who wanted to meet me. So I was like all set.
That's awesome. Now, it makes things a lot easier when you move into a new area, already having some type of relationship or people to reach out to. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Well, so it sounds like you've uprevved your life a couple of times, just the moving to, a new country, getting a second degree, trying to find your passion and then going down that path. Did you ever have anything that, that held you back? Were you embarrassed or fear or shame, anything like that just kind of held you back as a person?
It's actually, it may not be that obvious. I mean, psychologically saying, it's my accent. You can hear that, but then for me, it was mostly psychological part. Like I couldn't sign for my first journalism class because the fear of being judged by my accent was stopping me. And, it didn't come from nowhere. It came from people actually being racist to me. And it's been really frustrating. I know that people were saying those like hateful comments about my accent because they're not happy in their life. It doesn't have to do actually anything with my accent.
Right.
But then at the same time, it's it takes a lot to process. And when you hear somebody saying something, and then it hurts. I mean, at the beginning, obviously. So I was really scared, and I only signed up for my first class 2 weeks before. And I can't even tell you now how long was I waiting for. I would say maybe several months at least. Wow. So it took me a while, And I remember calling the university, and I was talking to the advisor, and I actually asked her, I was like, hey, I have an accent. I was like, that's so funny, actually. And And I was like, do you know if people are going to judge me by that?
Right, right.
I was really scared. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and obviously everything's turned out okay, though, yeah?
Yeah, there is no judgment. I made so many friends, and basically now, some people ask me, "Oh, do you have mostly Russian friends?" And I say, "No, I have mostly Canadian friends
Right.
or people from different countries." I mean, I'm not being racist. I don't judge like whoever I'm, getting along with. But
Right.
yeah, it's just everybody. But what I'm trying to say by telling you that I have mostly Canadian friends, that people accept me, people don't care where I came from. They see me in action, they see my personality, and they don't actually hear my accent
Right.
anymore.
Right.
Because they don't see me as like Russian person or like an immigrant. Yeah, and that's powerful actually. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, what about advice that you've been given throughout your life that has kind of been, pretty fundamental to who you are today, or something that you've been able to carry with you? Could it be from, teachers, mentors, family?
I would say my mom, whenever I was like frustrated, and I would come up to my mom, she would always tell me, it's not about you, it's about them. Sometimes it doesn't matter how good you are or even how bad you are. It just, whatever people say or think about you or even do, it's about them. It's not about you. And again, same about accent or anything. It doesn't have to do anything with you, well, with me. So I guess that's the best advice. And I was listening to one podcast recently, and there was a guy, a guest on a show, and he was telling how that anything comes to your life, you have to accept that, and you have to love that. And for example, even before our show, I was telling myself, I'm nervous,
Right.
but I love that. And that calmed me down. Like whatever comes your way, just say, I love that. Yeah, okay, come. Just, I accept that. I love that. And it helps. It may sound cheesy or even maybe a bit weird, but it does help. It just changes your perspective, and then you just ready. That's it.
Yeah, no, I agree. When you lean into that, that fear or, nervousness, that's where growth happens. So, thank you for leaning into it this morning.
Thanks.
So, I know you like writing, but what about, what do you do right now? Something that you swear by, do you journal, meditate, exercise, something that just improves a part of your life or your overall life?
Yeah, I'm actually, my exercise life, it's kind of like on and off.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to keep up, especially before I used to work mornings. And I used to be always on my feet the whole day. So, I would come home and just be in my bed. That's it, like no exercise.
Right.
The whole work day was my exercise. But now I work graveyard, so 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And then I actually sit at the information counter. So right after my shift, I go to gym, and I put my favorite TV show, and I just do my cardio, and I'm the happiest person in the world.
That's awesome.
I don't need anybody. Just like, TV show, cardio, and me, perfect match. So yeah, I mean, exercise helps. It does help. It improves your mood and you feel different. So that's the cheesy part. Something like meditation, I don't usually do that, but what helped me a lot to improve my mood and overall, perspective on life, I actually stopped doing this a few days ago, I guess because it already had a tremendous effect on me. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I was keeping gratitude journal. So every single day I would write even small things like, I don't know, my colleague bought me a cup of coffee. it's something small, but then you read it the next day and you're like, wow, well, that's great. That's really good. Somebody was kind to me. I can maybe buy somebody else a cup of coffee next day, you know.
Right.
And it's something that just shows you that people are actually kind overall, and the world isn't a bad place, as media sometimes maybe tries to, you know, show that, or
Agreed.
people sometimes, you know, say that, and it makes you being more kind to other people as well. So yeah, I think it's amazing what a gratitude journal can do to you.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with that. So thank you. What about books? Do you have a book that you recommend that you really enjoy?
I read a book last year actually, and it did help me to sign up for my journalism classes. It's called Defining Decade. So it's about the age between 20 and 30, how it's so important to decide what to do with your life. But it doesn't give you that pressure, like, oh, you know, you have to do something.
Right.
It just, there was a lady who wrote this book. She's like a psychotherapist, psychologist, and she has all this, you know, hats. And she was basically telling all those stories of people who would struggle with their life, who would try to find their passion, and who would try to switch their career. And it has 3 big chapters. So it's career, then exercise, like body and mind, and personal life. So it hit me hard. It actually showed me there's so many people who still maybe, I was 25 at that time, and they can be 25 years old, like 27, like, so, like, as I said, between 20 and 30, they still don't know what to do with their life. Because I thought it was just me. Like,
Right.
I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what to choose. No, it's not. And it doesn't necessarily give you an advice, but it's kind of like, again, show you that people like you exist, and you know, just don't worry, you know, don't have any fears, just do whatever you want to do.
Right. Yeah, no, I just had a good talk with a friend yesterday who's kind of going through some of this right now. So yeah, I think it's common, and I think one of the differences that we have that our parents and grandparents didn't necessarily have is there's just so much more opportunity now, and the fact that you know, or much more mobile, you know, we can move and travel much easier than our parents and grandparents, and you can also work remotely. So you could be working for, I mean, you know, you and I'm over in Boston and you're in Vancouver, so we're completely other ends of the world, or, you know, continent right now, and able to have this conversation. And, you know, our parents and grandparents may not have had that luxury. So there's so much more for us to do and look at, and it's probably just, it makes it that much more confusing and difficult for us to make a decision. So
yeah, that's true. I agree. It's hard, but you just gotta do it.
Yeah, no, you do. Yeah. So I can imagine a few things that you've done, Alie, that have kind of pushed you out of your comfort zone, that's helped you grow. But you know, what would you share with us about that?
Well, since I'm here just by myself, it's kind of hard to be away from your family and friends, and you basically start your life from zero. It's like you literally feel like you're a newborn baby because you know nothing. And even with English, when I came here, I was working as an interpreter before, so my English skills were like on point. But when I came here, I was like shocked, and I think it's called cultural shock.
Yeah.
I was able to say yes and no. That's it. I couldn't talk. I'm like, what's going on? But people were so kind to me, and it was amazing. Of course, the more I was living here and meeting people, like I was like, okay, I can talk now. It's fine. my shock was gone. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm losing my point. So yeah, when you do things by yourself, when you live by yourself, and it's kind of like you understand that whatever happens, you have to deal with it by yourself. So when I came here, I was, I think 21 or like 22. Yeah, 21.
Mm-hmm.
And I was already like, grown up person. I was an adult. But then it's just like something happens and you have to act fast and you have to make a decision and there's nobody you can ask. Like you have to ask yourself.
Right.
You basically being your best friend and you're like, okay, what should I do now? So I guess I would say, yeah, just trusting yourself. And yeah,
Okay.
that's what's gonna guide you. Your gut. You just trust your gut. And I mean, intuition is some people don't believe in it. Like I do. It's just like some kind of like voice that tells you what to do, like don't go there.
Right.
Like don't go there.
Right.
Even, for example, asking you out for like, oh, let's go, there's a party, but you hear that word, like, don't go there. And then sometimes you go and then you're like, but that voice told me
Right.
not go in there. Yeah, you just learn all those different things, just basically, as I said, just trusting yourself. And yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Okay. Well, this podcast is all about continuous improvement and trying to, become the better version of ourselves, which is it's a daily journey and, we'll never fully arrive. What is it that you're currently working on yourself to try to improve in your life?
I'm trying not to be hard on myself, and it helps. Sometimes it may sound odd, but I have those like talks with myself. I tell myself, hey, like now you're being too hard on yourself. You have to stop this because, again, as being by myself here, it's a lot of stuff that comes my way sometimes, and I'm the only one dealing with it. And of course, it makes me being like more responsible because I'm taking care of my life, right? My safety, my life, career, money, like everything.
Right.
Like, just name it. And of course, sometimes it's just too hard on myself because I don't want to get into any kind of like stressful situation, or I don't want to lose my money, or I don't want to lose my job. And but what I've learned even for the past few months, that being hard on myself doesn't help at all. I may have thought it helps. I may have thought it kind of protects me from like some stuff, but no, it doesn't. And I kind of let it go, and it's been amazing. It just changes the whole perspective, and even with exercise. Because I would always tell myself, you got to do it. You got to exercise every single day so it can be a habit. And I would be like nagging myself.
Right.
But then I let it go, and look at me now. I'm done my graveyard. I go exercise. I do my cardio, and I love that. Like the first day I went there, I did cardio for like 1 hour and a half. Before that, I wouldn't even imagine myself doing cardio for 1 hour and a half.
Right.
So yeah, that would be the major lesson.
Okay. Well, what about, and you've covered some of this already, but just, personal habits that you have now that you feel contribute to your continual personal growth?
I like listening to podcasts and hearing all those stories, and sometimes it just has such an amazing effect. And even recently there was a man. I think he's actually kind of famous, but I don't remember his name. He's a famous businessman. Something happened. He got into a fight and he got stabbed into his face with a knife several times. And he had to go through several surgeries. And so basically his face wasn't like it used to be before. So it was kind of like it changed a bit because of the surgeries and because of that guy stabbed him and some nerves were damaged. And he used to be in sales. He used to go, from door to door, just talking to people. And I think he was even suffering from depression at some time because he was like, oh my God, I need to talk to these people. I'm knocking into their door and my face is so ugly now. It's so awful. And then at some point, something hit him so hard and he realized that people know him. People recognize him. They always say, oh, but that's the guy with the face.
Right.
And then he can build his business. He can grow his business because people don't remember anybody else but him.
Right. Right.
And it's so cool. It's so cool. And sometimes I think even my accent, people can remember me because I have an accent.
Right.
They will forget about everybody else,
right.
but still remember me. And I mean, even my appearance stand out, maybe not that much, but actually in Vancouver, they have so many different nations, and there are so many different Asian cultures, and there's so many people from India and Iran. So I'm with my super white skin and blue eyes, piercing blue eyes, and blonde hair. I kind of stand out. I can see sometimes people look like me. So
right.
You can see, appearance, accent, being human rights activist, being a woman, and here you go.
No, that's fantastic, Alie. Well, I guess, just kind of wrapping up here, a few other items. What about parting guidance, some wisdom that you would love to impart upon the audience today?
Wisdom. I would say, and again, I'm still learning, but the advice I would give to people would be do everything and treat people with love. Because sometimes we can assume something about the person or people, and we kind of, even I'm talking about working with my colleagues, we just sometimes tell them what to do. We don't ask their opinion, and we just assume some things. But then if you come in from love and kindness, people change. I mean, and sometimes we're all different, and I don't want to sound negative, but some people, they do have kind of, let's say, not that positive personality. And again, it comes maybe from childhood. I'm not blaming anyone, but
right.
Still you can see that it's just the personality. They're not being kind and being maybe even hateful. But then when you treat them with love, and then you ask their permission to do something, or when you ask their opinion, it changes everything. They just, you can see their face is changing at that moment. So yeah, that would be my best advice.
All right.
Treat people with love and do everything with love.
Yeah. No, I think that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. So, Alie, this is a place for you to kind of share anything that you would like to promote, anything that you're currently working on, anything like that you'd like to, share with the audience.
Sure. So as I said, I finished all my journalism classes, and I'm really obsessed in a good way with human rights. So I'm currently looking for internship and volunteer opportunities. And actually, I wrote an article about racism. I didn't try to publish it yet, but I have it ready. And I was also working on some research about human trafficking, but not just human trafficking. My angle was human trafficking from customs perspective, because apparently they can deal with it as well, not just the police.
Right.
So I'm doing my research here and there. I'm writing some articles. I have my website, and I guess you're gonna put it in the notes.
I will. Yeah.
Should I just still say it?
Yeah,
or?
go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically www.humanrightscare. It's only one word. .com. So it's simple.
Okay. No, thank you.
And that's where I post all my stuff, my articles. I also write some poems, and it's mostly, again, human rights oriented, like racism or transgender rights. That's all for now. And if you need me to write anything about human rights or even something, I'm down. I'm ready.
Oh, wow. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much for that. And, thank you for the work that you're doing. It's a fantastic cause, and, I applaud you for going down that path. And also, thank you for your story today and sharing with us everything that you have. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And it was a pleasure. Thank you, Tom.
So one of my key takeaways from this episode is just how transformational Alie's journey was from moving from Russia to Canada. She experienced all that fear and anxiety, and just because she was different. She mentioned this in the show. She's afraid of, how she looked, because she looked different than the people there, her accent, and she thought that was going to hold her back. It even almost prevented her from going to college. And, just that sense of overwhelmingly being insecure. However, as you find out, throughout the show, she leveraged that, and it became not only a strength, but, a positive asset that she's been able to take forward in her life. So, that was one of the awesome key takeaways that I took. Outside of that, I really liked the parting guidance that she shared, that just treat everyone out of love and respect. You don't know where they are in their life and what they're going through. So don't make prejudgments about other people. Those were my key takeaways. What were some of yours? I'm looking forward to hearing them.
Thanks for listening to the UpRev Ninja podcast with your host, Tom Hudson. Navigate to our website at uprev.ninja today, where you will find additional resources to help you discover the best version of you. While you're there, join our newsletter and join the discussion on your favorite social media platforms. We've got some awesome guests lined up to share with us how they are becoming the best versions of themselves. Again, thank you for listening. Now it's time to go out and uprev your life.